we've come back much faster so far than expected 6 months ago. And there are areas where things are coming along very well. There's a big item that we didn't talk about, or that the panel didn't talk about, and that is what's happening with the vaccine. And is it really just about to happen shortly before the election, which seems unlikely, but who knows? And that could make a big difference in terms of getting more workers into the labor force, and that would help getting employment up considerably. So that's another factor that's out there, unknown to us how that dynamic is going to move, but it could be a big dynamic.
What about this new posture on inflation, saying that they're going to let it run hot, and Powell's going to great lengths today to say this is a powerful new tool of forward guidance? Does that resonate with you? Do you think that's going to be effective?
Well, it could be, but the problem is we've been trying to get inflation up for ages. I don't think there was a shortage of attempts to get inflation up over the last 10 years or so, but nobody has done that in the United States now for 10 years. And presumably we've been told that there's going to be stronger efforts to keep interest rates lower. And then there's, of course, the other element, which Chairman Powell has been emphasizing, and I think most macroeconomists would have been emphasizing, which is we've got to do something to get fiscal policy, or at least aggregate demand, up, because we can't do it all through monetary policy. And that still remains clear. And Chairman Powell emphasized that point very well. And we'll have to see whether there is a workable compromise that could happen within a couple of weeks. It doesn't seem like it now. We'll just have to watch and hope that we get another source of demand out of fiscal policy. And we're still waiting to see if that happens.
To that point, clearly we have had some fiscal stimulus this year, or we've had a lot of fiscal stimulus, but of course there was weaker demand out there. And it's seemingly likely we would get more fiscal stimulus even if it doesn't come before the election. To that point, is there a chance that inflation risks are underpriced at the moment?
Well, there's a chance. I don't think it's a particularly high one. And if anything, we're seeing the inflation rate looking a little slower than at least I had thought it would be. And we'll have to watch and see whether the amount of money put into the system and the amount of demand put into the system will have any chance of moving inflation rate up. If that happens, then we're in a different world than we have been since the start of the recession. And that would be very helpful. But it really would help even more if there were actual fiscal moves to make sure that we get the economy moving more rapidly.
So having two major uncertainties out there, which you just spelled out, we don't know if we're going to get fiscal stimulus. We don't know whether we're going to get a vaccine, if and when, and how widely used it will be. Given those unknowns, if we're looking at the downside scenario where things go into a hole again, Fed Chair Powell said there's more ammo. There's the more tools. There's more they can do. Is that true? What could they do? And what would they do?
I don't know what extra can be done through monetary policy. Obviously, interest rates are very close to zero. I think there's going to be an issue as to whether the American public will rebel against negative interest rates. It's not logical, but it may happen. And we'd have to see what happens there. I don't think the other elements that Chairman Powell mentioned would make a big difference. I think fiscal policy would make a big difference.